Hello one, hello all, Revan619 here. I hope you've been enjoying the DLC as much as I have, and I am now obviously running through live, and you guys have been stopping by, and I want to just thank everyone for doing that. But what I wanted to do today is to revisit the tier list that I did before the Lex DLC, and discuss where I think everyone is with the changes that we are seeing. So starting off, let's have a little look at A-Blood. I'm going to do this in order that we meet the companions. A-Blood was a very solid character that sort of fell off late game because a lot of the gear that you wanted to give him was better suited on Heinrichs. However, now with the early game, A-Blood getting access to shields, which means that he doesn't need to be Vanguard to be competitively viable for damage or tanking. You can now comfortably make a shield build, but also Roxor, Arc Militant A-Blood, who can one-turn almost every encounter from the mid-game onwards just from a Bring It Down, especially from Act 4 once you have the Void Veteran boots. Because of that, we're going to have to put A-Blood straight into the top tier. He has just had some very big boosts from this DLC because there's just a lot more you can do with it. He's now more survivable endgame and now has access to the gear he needs endgame to also be competitively viable with the other companions. Yes, it'd be nice if he was a Forge or a Death World, but he'll do. He's a perfectly viable, perfectly usable. Next, we have Idra. Idra, her main issue was the fact that her perils could sometimes blow her up and cost you your run. However, now with DLC and the warp buffer effect on the Cyber Raven, so an Overseer Idra as a solid buffer or even a support damage dealer, OP, top tier, absolutely fantastic. What we would like to see, what we want to see. Next, we move on to Argenta. Argenta's area builds got boosted to just 1 AP for shotguns. This means early game she can take out whole packs of enemies just by herself. Survivability can be a little bit of an issue for soldiers, and you're not really going to build her into shields because she can't one-hand those shotguns. However, her late game damage, she is still the top range companion as a heavy gunner build, but now that her area stuff is more viable, she just clears the map so much easier, and she has access to a lot of new gear such as the heavy breaches boots that she can use to clear that map. So, yep, Argenta still top tier. Even if we don't change a single thing, Cassia, boom, top of the top tier so far. Like, absolutely fantastic. Grand Strategist, fantastic. Servo Skull, Overseer, also fantastic for AoE officer buffs, though there's no reason not to go Grand Strategist with her. Next, we come to Kibella. Kibella was one of the top damage companions and second only to Heinrichs. With the DLC, she is still fantastic, and she's been basically, the weakness of Executioner has been fixed with 2 boots that can increase your movement based on either area or on just having a critical hit. So, yep, even better than before. Like, she just got stronger. Not quite as valuable to the team as unlimited 0 AP buffs turn 1, but still damn good. Next, we go on to Pascal. Pascal has not changed, other than his Bounty Hunter build and maybe a little bit of Assassin. He's not really that impressive. Bounty Hunter can do some of his top damage, and he can do some very good damage on Assassin, but he doesn't have the mobility to one-turn most encounters. Overseer and Executioner are just practically worthless on him, so he's actually dropped down from the mid-tier to the bottom tier, which is just sad to see for our good old tech boy, but we're hoping 1.5 will give him the much-needed buffs he needs. Moving on to Heinrichs. Heinrichs now got access to boots that on critical gives him Agility MP, and when you use Roxor's, that does Roxor's number of attacks, Agility MP. You get that straight away from Footfall, making Heinrichs even more powerful than he even was before the DLC. This makes him unbelievably the top of the companions because he can now solo clear entire maps just from a Bring It Down extra turn, and because you can build him for agility, he's likely going to go first. He's very survivable, very tanky, high health, high armor, high damage, just doesn't stop winning. And if once you've got the inertia boots and the warp surge brooch, you don't even need a team. He just solos everything. Fantastic. Next, we have Jay. Jay was already very strong as a companion who got Lore Imperium and to her HP and her armor. Now, with the access to Overseer, she can AoE officer buff as well as double Bring It Down. Unfortunately, her level 1 to 15 build limits her, but it does put her into the top tier. However, the only thing stopping her going up into overpowered is her limiting build, but her ability to cover all intelligence checks with Fellowship, it just fantastic. It's very good for her. Next, we move on to Yearlit. Yearlit gained absolutely nothing from this DLC. No new class, no notable new items, and being an operative bottom tier, she has nothing special going for her. Her damage is mediocre compared to other companions, and on unfair and above difficulties, like Pascal, she just heavily drops off and is completely uninspiring. Next, we move on to Ulfa. Ulfa got absolutely nothing in this except for access to the advanced heavy subber. And that in itself, allowing you to get a melee kill and then get a ranged kill, so both his area melees and his burst fires cost only 1 AP, makes him very effective for clearing the map. Ulfa has gone from bottom tier to just solid mid. Nothing special about him, but he is a solid workhorse. He has high health, so he is quite survivable. So as he is, solid mid-tier character. Not as powerful as those above him, but way more powerful than those below him. Next, we've got Mazrahai. Mazrahai has still not had shearing strikes fixed. There is a mod for it now, but outside of his Death Aura build, he's not all that usable. But that does feel like an exploit. So until we get the official shearing strikes mod fixed, he does sort of drop out of the top tier. Mazrahai, solid mid combatant, can solo clear most encounters, very useful, very fun to use, but he just needs a little bit of break fix put onto him. But no, a very good companion nonetheless. Lastly, we have Solomon. Solomon is the new companion who is an arbitrator vigilant, incredibly fun to use, incredibly good for clearing the map. However, his overseer archetype tier 2 does hold him back a little bit. Whilst it's not bad, it's not top. So I would say he comes in actually at the top tier. He massively outperforms Ulfar, massively outperforms Mazrahai, massively outperforms Pascal, massively outperforms Urilet. However, he doesn't outperform Argenta because obviously he can't be built into an Arc Militant. Same with Ablard. However, he is a very solid companion and can very easily solo encounters. So this is where we are. I'd say there's no one who's unviable. Pascal and Urilet do need some buffs and they need some love to make them better, but they're not unusable. This is where I think we are with the current tier list. I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. It'd be very interesting to hear how other people like to build them, but as you're seeing, I'm now releasing the videos showing all my builds to them and what I've discovered working with them. And the more of the new items I see, the more powerful everyone just seems to get, but the more mid and bottom the mid and bottoms appear. So the top is so much beyond mid and bottom, and the OP is so much beyond that. The balancing is starting to get somewhat out of hand. I'm thinking that once we do get around to 1.5, it's going to be very interesting to see what the developers do to sort of balance the current situation. I am planning on hopefully trying to pester them into having a conversation with myself so I can submit questions about their current balancing. Because they've changed some early acting counters where they can add 10 plus base damage to some of the early swarm mods, which can just one-shot your entire party from across the map, which means that first fight on Rykad, if you don't go there first, you're pretty much just sending in Avlard solo, and you're hiding the rest of your party at the back of the map so you don't pick up traumas. So it's a little interesting how unbalanced this encounter is, seeing as cover seems to do nothing here and you still get one shot. It would be nice to see maybe some trauma kits so you can take a little bit more risk and actually reward tactical play rather than making an unkillable character and just walking him up front and doing nothing about it. It's the same with the Aurora fight. I just send in a shield Ablard and that's my strategy. I don't think about anything else. So that's all I've got to say. Let me know your thoughts on the current balancing and the situation of the game now that you guys have all had time to do it. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, and bye for now.